Well,
get a bit closer to the leg there, Buzz.
today's adventure we're at the Canadian Aviation Space Museum. Well, death from above. They also do helicopter tours, but we've done a lot of them and I decided not to. A lot of the Ontarian museums are shut on Tuesdays and Wednesdays if you're coming. How's that for stunt flying? Canada's first plane, the Silver Dart. First mass-produced plane, the Berlioz 11. Out across the English Channel. The first UFO. The light bomber. Have a read of that. That'll be you.
Oil spray?
The Sopwith Camel. It's actually a lot smaller than I thought it was. Kinda cool. The Sopwith Snipe. Junkers J1, the first ever metal aircraft to go into production. I think it's seen better days. That's just a thing to get to your private cabin by the lake.
It's a boat.
Boat plane.
It's a boat.
It's a boat plane. Lovely.
Flying boat.
Kitty would like one. Like submariners, if you want to go into space, it pays to be small. This is Northern Norseman. Over 900 were built during the Second World War and after. And in 2019 there were still over 20 of these things flying in the bush. I'm a bit biased, but I do think that's like the best decal of any aircraft in any nation in the world. Kind of a cute one. Very famous in Canada, Canadarm on the space shuttle and on the space station. Pretty much everybody else everywhere in the world doesn't really know it's Canadian, not care really, but it's Canada's contribution to the space program. This is the old Beaver. Workhorse of the North for decades. Quintessentially Canadian. One way to get to your lake. I don't think any of these are actually flying still, but I could be wrong. Supplies for the North.
Someone has a sense of humor.
Scotch. Covid. Sexy girls. Parlez-vous anglais, monsieur? No? Très mal. I'll have to ask Dorothy if she's been on one of them. A racist Spitfire. This kind of imagery is no longer appropriate. Once the Spitfire gets all the credit, it was actually the Hawker Hurricane here that actually did most of the heavy hitting in the Battle of Britain and the Second World War for the Empire. Messerschmitt 109. Fairy Swordfish, complete with torpedo. That's the Avro Lancaster 4-engine bomber from the rear. This is the Westland Lysander. They actually use this quite heavily to drop supplies on foreign agents into Europe, into occupied territory, because it's very short takeoff and landing. Wow, it took a lot of guts to fly one of those things. The Messerschmitt Comet jet bomber could fly very fast up and get the bombers and then fly back down. It had a tendency to explode. Let's see, I have a Lancaster from the front. Until very late in aviation history, these were flying as the Shackleton for early warning in Great Britain. I actually know people that flown them. Very, very noisy, very, very cold. This was replaced for that role by the Nimrod. When these things take off, it's really noisy. Kitty! Kitty's getting nervous about flying in a biplane. They are very, very noisy. That's the old version, which I never flew on. That would have been the Diefenbaker bunker evacuation helicopter to take them to the bunker.
Not that one.
Not the little one. Well,
It's cute. I like that one.
yeah. That might have been one that was folded up inside the garage at the Diefenbunker. Quite possibly, in fact. This is kind of amazing that this thing sort of is still in use. You know the history of this?
Well, wasn't it sunk?
Yeah, they threw them in the lake.
Yeah.
It was the most amazingly advanced plane ever made by any country ever, and the Americans were very unhappy. And basically they got them to get rid of it. 1957 would have been operational. Stunning. Well, it wasn't a total loss, as Canada then bought these from the Americans later on, 30 years later, the F-16. So the answer to the question, was there still a role for Interdict's fighter to go high altitude very quickly and shoot down stuff? The answer very definitely is yes.
Wow, look how sleek it is.
Oh, this is 1957. Amazing. And this is the plane that quite literally won the Falklands War in 1982. Hawker Siddeley. Excellent plane. Way ahead of its time as well. 16.
So which is actually the arrow that? Just
Yeah,
that front
yeah,
one?
they just kept the nose. That's all they kept. 1957. But the avionics would have been pretty garbagey. But the engines and the design capability, they built about 5 of them, I think, and they tested them heavily. They were amazingly ahead of anything else. That wouldn't, and for the next 20 years, they would have been ahead of everything. Canada would have sold them completely around the world. Russians, MiG. The Big 15, the enemy. The F-86 Sabre. That's the pilot trying to get in. See, some planes are more difficult to get in. From above, Canada's drone. The Vampire. You can see it, but the early flights that I took as a kid, they in fact did have drapes on the windows and wallpaper. Baggage loading, 1936. I have a feeling this is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship. Okay, so America got to the moon, but the only reason they could stay on the moon was because the LEM had Canadian legs. I absolutely had never heard of that and had no idea at all that was the case.
There's one of them, dear.
Where was the Canadian flag on it?
There's the leg.
Bah humbug. Bah humbug. Oh, they could have
He's
put
standing near one of the Lander's Canadian-made legs.
Well,
You can get a bit closer to the leg there, Buzz.
yeah, move in, Buzz. He's probably drunk. We've actually been here since 10:30 and it's now 10 to 1. We still haven't quite finished and it's quite fun. I would highlight and recommend this. It's not bad. It's going to cost you $8 though. For the parking, it's $3.25 an hour with an $8 maximum. What was your favourite plane, Kitty?
Fokker.
The Fokker or the Waco that you flew in?
The Waco.
Right.
What about you?
Well, I got quite a buzz out of all of it, to be honest with you, but I really enjoyed going up in a biplane.
There's so many beautiful planes. Actually, they're beautiful. They are quite beautiful.
Right. So again, being a non-plane person, you still really liked to come in and enjoyed it.
Well, I do find them rather elegant.
Yeah,
And
the history.
early war ones are
Yeah.
really very interesting to think that they battled in those things. Just blows me away somehow. Up there shooting and being shot at and flying at night and all the things that they had to do in them. You know, where the poor little bomb aimers hung out in the Lancasters. There's just was it Lancaster? In the
Yep.
Yeah, brutal.
Mm-hmm.
They struck me as rather brutal. I guess they look delicate for things that hold you up in the air.
Well, the lightweight.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was funny sitting in the plane. I'm just in this little thing and I'm up in the air. It's funny. Funny.
Space is a dangerous place. Not a vegan. Out of this world with a hip. Well, that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed our tour around the Aviation Museum of Canada. I thought it was fabulous. 10 out of 10 for me. And Kitty actually thought it was 10 out of 10 as well. Seems very energized now. She's got over a 10 spheres she had during the flight. So that's it from us. Take care. We're now going to go and do a hike around the museum. It's about 5 miles, 8 kilometers. And thank you ever so much for watching. It's really appreciated. You have yourself a great week, okay? This has been a Dieting Terrier 2022 production.